right, guys, welcome to Pick Money, the podcast. You can give them some love. You can start using it. Don't matter. You can get it all good. Episode 33. I got Dominic and AJ with me. How y'all doing?
Great.
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. It's funny because I was joking. I said to AJ, I was like, how old are you? And he's like 23. And I saw the car he was driving. And I said, I used to have a Plymouth Horizon. You know what that is? He's like, nope. I said, I had a Chevette too. He's like, yeah, bro, that's just, I don't know. It's like before my time, so I don't even know. So, but what I want to talk to both of you about is, and I want you to introduce yourselves, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, because the project and the goal here is to get people to understand that at some point in time in your life, especially when you live in a country that's got capitalism as its main focus, you're going to have to pick money at some point in time in your life. And nobody's saying you got to do it forever, but there are points in time in your life where you're like, dude, and we want to talk a lot about how to effectively do that. Like, how do we do that? So let's start with you, Dom. If you can introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself. That doesn't mean just like our hair was in Boca. Like, tell us something about you. We'll have AJ do the same thing, then we'll get into the pod.
Yeah. So I grew up upstate New York, pretty normal childhood. Parents got divorced. That's pretty much everyone's parents nowadays. So I had it pretty good growing up. Came on down to Florida, go to FAU. Thought I'd get ahead in life, getting a 4-year degree. Saw what marketing jobs were paying when I got out and saw that wasn't true. So I realized I wanted to get into sales. And the past year and a half, I've been on a mission to become financially free, not have to worry about it, take care of my future family. I don't have any kids yet, get married next year. And I just want to be prepared for that. I'm willing to take anyone else who's willing to do the same.
Got it. So you are graduated college at what age?
22.
22.
Yes.
All right. You were working at the valet. Mm-hmm. What'd that pay you? A year.
End
if
of
you
the
had
year,
worked full-time.
yeah, 30,000.
30,000. And you work full-time?
Yep.
Okay. So you full-time job at $30,000 a year. And you didn't take a marketing job. Why? Because you're like, they didn't pay that much anyway?
No, and
okay.
They wanted all the experience. No one cared about the degree. It was a starting position was like $15 an hour. Like, I was making more at the valet. It's hard to rationalize.
Correct. So you were working at Capitol Grill, or you were working outside of Capitol Grill. We used to go there. We go there all the time for dinner. Love going there. We had met. And when did you decide, okay, marketing, these jobs, it's not what I thought it was going to be? When did you decide that, I'm going to give sales a shot?
So it was actually over the summer. So I graduated in the spring. I was like, awesome, like, let me look for some jobs. And that's when I realized that I was playing around on Indeed, looking up sales jobs. And that's when I realized that's what I wanted to pursue. Because I saw the uncapped. I saw there were different types of sales industries as well. So you name it, I went into an interview. I went into about 11 different interviews.
Sales
in general. So yacht sales, commercial real estate, health insurance.
What was the worst interview where you're like, dude, I hate this?
Oh, it was the capital funding one. Something
What
like
was that?
Walk in, it's like these 10 dudes in tracksuits, like smoking weed. I was like, what is going on here?
Perfect.
It was nuts. But that was the thing with all of them. They either were sketchy or, they're like, hey, don't expect to get paid for 9 months. And it doesn't make sense. So that's when I'm glad, ran into you at the valet. And it was the way you carried yourself. I didn't really know too much about life insurance, but I saw you were on a mission that I kind of want to be a part.
So you were looking at, all right, so it's funny, you said a lot of things in there, by the way, but I think sales gets a bad rap. Mm-hmm. And dude, listen, a bunch of guys in tracksuits around smoking weed for your interview, they deserve the bad rap they got, but it gets a bad rap. Like, growing up, people would tell me same stuff, like, it's sketchy, it's hard to do, you're not gonna make any money. But I started looking at all the people around me that were making money. Now, you were making 30 grand a year. How was your transition into sales?
It was tough, honestly.
Okay.
Something that I really had to adjust was I'd be sitting at the valet. I could watch a TV show, whatever, and I knew what I was going to get paid. Some cars pull up, like, I take care of business, but then I'm just back to sitting there getting my hourly wage. So I would say the biggest transition was if I'm sitting there on my phone and not dialing the phone, I'm making $0. So that's when I really had to become intentional, and I struggled with it. It actually took my fiance. She was kind of like, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? I would take a lunch break and watch a movie. And it was like
3-hour lunch.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's because I had the freedom, but I didn't realize it had to be earned at that point. So it really took me realizing what I wanted to do, kind of getting a kick in the butt from her, and realizing like, what do I need to do in order to earn that freedom? You know, I don't sit around and watch movies, but kind of becoming driven about it as well. So you don't even want to.
Yeah. All right. So you're how old now?
24.
24. What are you going to make in 2025? What are you going to end the year in income?
Probably net around 350, 400. Crazy.
It is okay. It's crazy. Thank you. It's crazy.
That is nuts.
The magic is you have to remember that it's always crazy, no matter what you're doing, because you went from 30. So you're sitting around watching movies. Why? Because you're like, dude, I'm gonna make 30 no matter what. I can watch movies and probably make 80. I might be able to watch movies and make 150, but I can't make 350 like this. Was sales easy for you? Was it like, man, it's easy. I close them all right away.
No, I would get nervous on the phone. I would start sweating profusely, and like my face would get all red. And I was not a natural born salesman. And it took a lot of just repetition. That's all it really took. Just getting better and better every single call, picking stuff up from people that were doing better than me, and just being coachable. That's all it really took. If I was set in my ways, I would have never gotten better.
Got it. All right. When you look at the business now, we're going to get back into the business for you specifically, but what is the biggest thing you've learned about you being an entrepreneur? Because when you're at the valet, no disrespect, you can watch the movies, your cars pull in, don't hit a car with another car, like don't lose the keys. It's not really that, like, it's kind of hard to jack it up. Like, don't lose the car, don't hit a car, be nice to people, and you're okay. What is the biggest thing you've learned about you as you pursued your independent role as a businessman?
I've learned a ton about myself.
What's the biggest thing about?
I would say what I can grow into, because I'm in kind of a leadership role now. And
you're not in kind of a leadership role. You're in a leadership role. Correct.
Yeah.
Hey, both are. Anybody that's in business, has anybody rely on them, is in a leadership role.
Right.
So you are in a leadership role.
Yeah, I've never been a leader before this. So it's been a huge transition, but the biggest part about it is I realize I'm capable of it, which I don't think I ever realized before. So just being able to grow into that and not cap myself, because it's very easy to be like, all right, this is what I earn. When I got that marketing degree, it was like, this is what I can do. Pick from these ones. And it's a very capped lifestyle, very capped life. And realizing that doesn't have to be the reality.
Got it. Okay. All right, AJ, how about you? Tell us a little bit about you, bro.
My name is AJ Standish. When I was 20 years old, I'm 23 now, I decided that I was going to abandon traditional beliefs. I was going to go to college my whole life. I was going to get a degree. And then I realized there's more out there, right? I can do more than what I'm putting limits on for myself. So since then, I was like, hey, I'm going to be on my own. I'm going to figure this thing out. And since then, I've just been learning, having fun with it. And rather than collecting degrees, collecting papers, I feel like I'm collecting skills and bringing value to the marketplace.
Okay. Did you go to college?
I'm still in college. Yeah, I'll graduate this semester, but honestly, only doing it just because my parents, they've been paying for it. I want to make them proud.
Good for you.
Yeah.
FAU.
FAU.
What's your degree in?
Computer science originally, then I switched to criminal justice.
That's what I graduated. Yeah. Social work and criminal justice. Yeah. I'd do that all over again if I had to pick one. All right. So you realized that at 20, that's what you want to do. Why? What was it? I get it. You didn't want to do what everybody else is doing. You want to change why, though. What happened, or what did you believe, or what did you see?
So first of all, I didn't want to work 9 to 5. I didn't want somebody telling me what to do 24/7. I kind of just wanted to do my own thing, kind of break the rules a little bit, do whatever I got to do. I don't know, simple as that. I didn't want to work for anybody. I didn't want to cap myself. And when I came down to valet, I noticed kids our age, they were driving fancy cars. They were driving supercars. So I'm like, why am I putting this limit on myself? Like, why can they do it? Why can't I? So I started asking them, and that's where it came from.
You started asking what they were doing.
Yeah.
How'd you make the money?
Real. Yeah.
Okay. What will you make this year?
Probably going to net 253.
God bless America. That's a lot of money, right?
That's a lot of money.
When you tell people in your family or other friends that are not in the business with you at all, what do they think when you tell them that?
Same way I thought before I was in this position, like, no, that can't be real.
And even when you tell them, I'm going to make myself $250,000, they're like, no, it can't be real.
It's not a big deal. It's like, oh, like, you're lying, or like, you're making, like, you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Yeah. Why do you think people do that?
I don't know. I think it's like a cope. Like, because that's how I was. When other people would tell me that, I try to, like, eliminate the real reasons to feel better about myself.
Correct.
I think that's why people do it.
Well, I mean, it's not threatening when it's not real. then you're not mad at what you're doing. I think you said it, Nam, like it's the financial freedom. Like once you want that, there's part of it you want to do something different. So everybody says go right. You're like, I ain't going right. I'm going left. Why? Because they told me to go right. So I'm going left. That's a pretty easy one, right? For you. There's nothing wrong with that. And then also like, I want a different lifestyle. And I don't want to park everybody's like, I don't mind parking a car when I'm working as hard as I work, but I want to get there too. And it's not the objects, it's the way you can live your life. What's the biggest thing you've learned about you and your journey?
It's a good question. So when I first started this and I first started seeing money come in, it was all about money. It was just like about collecting. The biggest thing I've learned since then and kind of developed as a person, it's like been about the game. Like it's about developing myself and getting better because the numbers are the numbers. It's just pixels on a screen. Mm-hmm. But like, what can I do to get better every day? What can I do to become more valuable? That's kind of like been the biggest lesson for me.
But earlier it was money.
Earlier it was
money.
Pay me. Yeah, pay me.
Whenever I get paid, I get paid. I'll show up.
It's still about that, obviously.
Yeah, well,
it grows, it develops.
Well, if it's on some level, it has to be about that because you can't develop, you can't have your family, you can't support them, you can't live your life. Like you need the money. Like, but it's also it doesn't have to be the primary driver. All right. So were you successful in sales right away? Got your insurance license, started crushing it?
No.
Walk us through that process.
So before even insurance, I was kind of doing I was trying to figure it out. So there was about 2 years of time before I even started insurance. I was like, I'm going to go find out how to sell an info product, right? You watch these guys online, what they're doing. So I tried some stuff. I tried, selling leads to tattoo artists, did a little bit about that. I made a few sales, but I was like, shit, like I'm not going to scale this. Then I met Dom, I met you. But it was hard. Like it wasn't easy at all. Even though I thought I had a little bit of experience, I came in really cocky, like I'm going to knock this out of the park. But it was very humbling. I was very uncomfortable on the phones to begin with. It just takes repetition, just like anything. It took time.
But it takes humility to allow yourself to be humbled. So that's the difference when people are like, he or she's egotistical. I'm like, no, dude, not if they allow themselves to be humble. You can be confident. You can be cocky. I don't know if that's egotistical because I think ego is different than being overly. Ego is like the whole world, it revolves around me. That's what ego is. Ego isn't about anybody else in the world, right? And I think part of now, if you ask me what I've learned in watching you guys, right? Because I think one of the things that's hard is you get all these people to come in, and then all of a sudden you started, and it was like, dude, where are all these people coming from, right? Because it's a few people, and then they're everywhere. And you're like, dude, who's going to park the cars? Like everybody in valet works here now. Like where are they going to go? And it's like, but they were attracted because you guys started to have a result, right? Like, wasn't it crazy how excited people were once you were getting paid? Like how excited they were for themselves once you started getting paid, right? That was never like that for me. Like you got in, you're like, I'm going to make money, right? You saw what it was. You saw there were leads and you said, I'm going to make money, correct? Mm-hmm. But you believe you'd make money.
Yeah.
If he didn't go and make sales and didn't make money, you still would have believed in you.
Yeah, but the idea wouldn't have even existed.
Correct.
Point. Yeah.
There you go. But what, like, if the idea exists and somebody led you to it, you'd have been like, dude, I ain't gonna make money doing that. Take us back because there's always somebody, Dom. See, the thing about you is you have to understand there's always somebody that did it first. That doesn't mean like all I tell people at the company is I happen to be the one that launched a company. Like it wasn't like we're all doing what we're doing now, but somebody's got to go make the first sale. I made the first sale at FFL. Somebody had to be the first one to go through all this stuff. And the reality really is that you validated for you. Do you remember when you realized, dude, I can actually make money doing this? Like the first day, the first week, the first month, when you realized this is real.
Yeah.
When was that?
So it was actually getting my first sale.
How long did that take?
It took about a week and a half.
Okay.
So I took 2 weeks off at the valet. I told my manager, hey, like, don't put me on these 2 weeks. I'm going to try something else out. Kind of like laughed. I was like, yeah, okay. Like, see you in 2 weeks. And I went out all the way to Pahokee. I went all the way out to Pahokee, taking all these rough roads there. And I got 2 sales out there, made $900. That was my commission. And that's when I realized, because that's 2 weeks at the valet. Mm-hmm. And the bigger part about it is I had no clue what I was doing, really. I was not good. I was fumbling through the apps. I wasn't even registered with one of the carriers. So I was freaking out trying to register there, sitting on this lady's couch for an hour. But I realized, like, wait, if I don't know what I'm doing and I still just did better than I would have at the valet, I could figure this out. I can make this something actually big. So that was my absolute turning point of like, I can do this. I'll never forget that drive back. It was like an hour drive back, and I don't think I've ever been as happy.
How good? That's the thing. How good did you feel?
I felt really, really good.
Like this also becomes you said a game on some like game for you to learn about you and to grow, but also like it is a game to compete at, where you have these leads, and you got your phone, and that was back when we ran out to people's houses.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything's virtual now, but you know, I think the other thing I learned was how independent people, how good independent contractors, while they might want more, at times they're really good at being independent, right? Like so when you got started, and let's do you, AJ, you got started. What did you think the process would be like before you even started? Like, I'm going to make some sales, I'll make some phone calls, but what's going to be my training process? What did you think that would be before you ever started? In your mind, what did you think it would be?
I don't even know I had a thought of it. I was just like, I'm going to try this thing. I don't know. Did I have like a picture in my mind what I thought was going to happen? Like, I was like, no, I'm going to just do this. Like, we'll figure it out.
Did you have a
based
picture?
off what he told me.
I kind of just figured I would get the hang of it, but I was not ready for all the rejection because I've never faced that before. You don't face that at the valet. You don't face it when there's no growth, when it doesn't actually matter. You know, so I think getting the door slammed in my face.
Yeah, because in-home rejection is different than phone rejection. Did you sell in-home at all?
A little bit.
Yeah, in-home rejection, because you're there.
Yeah.
And you can drive an hour, 2, 3 hours and be like, dude, really? Like I'm here. Like you filled this thing out. You signed it. I bought it. I drove 3 hours. Like that's what you're thinking. You know what I mean? And I'll never forget, I had a guy with me when I was back. I've been doing this for like 2 months. And he was like, hey, I'm going to go in the field. I'm going to send this agent with you. And I was like, and I don't like bringing agents in the field. And not because I didn't want to help him, but I'm like, dude, like I got to make my sales. Like I want you to make sales too, but my primary goal when I got my car and got my leads that I bought was to go make sales so I can make money. And I got to bring you. And a lot of times people don't know how not to talk during the sale. I ever tell you this? And I pulled up and the guy was on his, I'd call it a porch, I guess, a little apartment complex. And I was like, did my whole like wave and my drive. I'm like, hey, how you doing? He's like, good. How are you? And I'm like, good. And all of a sudden, out walks this lady, and I'm like, God, I know that lady. They're like in their 60s or something. It's like, was I here last week? She's like, yeah, you were here. Then I remembered him, but she had really been the one talking at the door. He had come out, and I go, what did you do this for again? This is new. Why did you fill another one out? And he's like, oh, why? He goes to her, why did you fill it out? She goes, I just figured I'd fill it out again. So I walk over to the deck and like, let's say she's there and I'm like, hey, bro, if she fills out one more form and I buy it and come out here, I'm not going to be as nice. Like, because I'm losing my mind. I'm 2 hours out. I'm trying to make money. Like, bro, I'm trying to be nice here, but this isn't a game to me, And I think, I guess, AJ, for me, when I started, I felt like, I don't know but I think a lot of people thought it was going to be a lot more training. And I'm like, dude, the training will be the on-the-job training. Like, that's the beauty of independent contractor. It's on-the-job training. We have amazing training. We have sales. You can look at it everywhere. But, dude, you're going to learn 99% of what you learned about you by doing it. Your emotions, your feelings, your rejection. Like, how can anybody help you get through rejection? They can't. But there's times you're like, dude, who's going to be here to help me? Not me. Like, I'd be like, you talk to Marissa about the product if you want. Don't call me. Call Sound Life Insurance. I have a question about COPD. Don't call me. Like, I'm not being mean. I'm going like, it's on the job training, but you have to know your people. Like, now that you're both managing people. How many people do you have on your team?
About 50.
50.
Yeah.
It's a lot. How many got on your team?
13.
13. It's
Writers.
either 13 writers, 13 people that you have some responsibility for that you derive a profit if they make a sale. And it gets crazy when you have 50. So 13 gives you that. 50 gets you this. You get to 100, you make yourself 700 grand a year. What has been the hardest part? You're young. You've never been in a leadership position before. You were looking the sales deal. You're both smart. What's been the hardest thing to adjust to on the training side? like the leading side, when I'm the support side, the managing. Let's do managing of people. What has been the hardest part for you?
The hardest part has been I'm a problem solver. So I see someone struggling and I want to swoop right in and, oh, this is how it's done. Like, here, do this. Like, don't worry about that one. Don't do that one again. Learn from my mistakes, blah, blah, blah. But I would do too much and to where I was hurting them because I wasn't allowing them to face that rejection that I faced, that AJ faced. It's what builds your character. It's what builds your skills. So I recently had to remove myself from the equation a little bit, kind of take a step back and let people make those mistakes. And they've been growing better than ever. They're actually solving their own problems.
Right.
They're not dependent. Like you always say, like, we're too dependent. You're right. And now I see that. So it's been a huge adjustment for everybody for the better.
It's different the way you see yourself today than the way you saw yourself before. Like you can see like the difference in the way you carry yourself today. How about this? When were you the most angry with me in the business or most frustrated?
Maybe like
I mean, plenty of times, but like when was the most?
Maybe just the first time getting called out on, or like, kind of like, well, why do you say that? Like, he said it in front of them, like that was unnecessary, or like, why do you do that? I would say that would be it.
Do you know why I did it?
Yeah,
Why?
I took in that scenario it was intentional. So it was me. That scenario, just so everyone knows, is it was me not seeing myself for a value.
Yeah.
Kind of looking up to someone who reached out to me looking for a job. So why you did it in front of everybody was so everyone else sees the value in themselves as well.
And see the value in you.
Yeah.
The value in you. Like the answer is you're like, I have this new guy. He's going to be unbelievable. He's great. And maybe I can learn from him. Like the guy, dude, I'm not being mean, but the dude lives with his parents. He's not in his 20s. Like, how are you going to learn? Like what? And then you understand that like part of it too, and I'll make mistakes. Like that's the other thing I think I learned about business. I'd rather default to serving and be aggressive. If I'm trying to help, then I'm okay with it. Now, do I go too far? Yeah. Like sometimes I'm like, damn, that was a lot. You know what I mean? But I'm like, but I want them to know. Like you don't, if you do it for no reason, then you're just being an ass because you're doing it for absolutely no reason. But also you need to know how great you're going to be. And that's when I started at your age, I had a lot of folks that were older than me that had not done anything. So I had my own issues with it, right? And they would preach at me, but I was not like, I was already really angry and really, so I'd be like, bro, like, why do you talk to me that way? The guy would be like, what do you mean? I'm your manager. I'm like, bro, you're not my manager. You fucking work here just like me. You're 40 fucking one, I'm 20. You're fucking sales guy selling real estate just like me. Why do you talk to me that way? He'd be like, well, I'm like, because Gail said you're in charge. She's here once a year, bro. She's 80. And she's nice. There's nothing wrong with Gail. But you're not, none of you are in charge of me. I'm an independent fucking real estate agent. And then I'm like, either I'm going to knock this guy out or quit. So I went to another company. Because they were so busy with their look at me and come to like, I'm better than you. Bro, when I'm your age, I said I won't be managing people. Like I'll be doing something else. I'll be successful. And I hate to see people treated in a way where they look up to others. Not that you should look down on them, but I want you looking eye to eye to everybody. That's what I wanted, eye to eye. And then I'm like, shit, if he's angry at me, maybe he'll be angry at himself, be angry at me, do well. I don't know. And also, but I want everybody to see who you are. And when you watch that people can take it. Does that mean like I'm always trying to get people to tell me what I need to do better? And there's plenty of things. Trust and believe that. But it's like you have to be qualified though. I think that's the struggle for me. If you had said, hey man, I got a guy doing $1 million a month, I'd be like, fuck, that's a lot of volume. He's really good. He's been at it 8 years. Here's his, I can show you. He's not just talking. I'm like, oh shit, like that's, dude, maybe we should, I mean, you're still in charge. Let's work this out now. But he probably does know some shit that can keep you alive. This is some guy that, he's the same guy that would have been at the tracksuit place smoking the weed, raising money. But instead it's like, and then that's dangerous when somebody comes in and tries to hijack what y'all built. And it was fragile then. It's not fragile now. You know what I mean? What about you, AJ? What have you learned about yourself? Because that's huge. Because everybody thinks somehow doing something for somebody's fixing it. And I read this one day. Everything you do for somebody builds your self-image and lowers theirs. The building mine, I was like, the lowering theirs. Because every time you swoop in and go, no, I got it. Hey, dude, do this
Like
here.
they're not capable.
Yeah. Let me talk to him. Hey, say this. And I want to help. Be clear. You want to provide help. You always want to provide assistance. But if you've already told him to say that 3 times, he knows what to say. Let him say it. You can't be there because what happens at 8 o'clock at night when you're on a call or you're eating dinner or he's like, who helps me? Bro, it's just you. How about you, AJ? What is something you learned about yourself? Because you set out to be independent, to make money. You want to become a better person in general, businessman. What have you learned about yourself as you're on this leadership journey? Because you're on a leadership journey.
Big thing is learning how to coach other people the way they're most effectively coached. When I first started, I tried to coach everyone the way I wanted to be coached.
How do you want to be coached?
It's like, do this happened, do this happened, like very like robotic. Like
Correct.
That's what I like, but not everybody responds well to that. So that was like the biggest adjustment for me, trying to figure out how different personalities are coached, how you challenge certain people. I think that makes an effective leader.
It's hard because everybody has different personality. So for me, I know I'd prefer you to come in and go, dude, Sean, what would you do that for? And I'd be like, oh no. Hey, don't do that shit, bro. It doesn't work. That's not how you make money. You buy these leads, don't buy these leads. Don't do some of the way you do. Like, it's robotic. Like, just tell me, like, let's just do this over here. Let's not do. I don't know why you're doing that. I'm like, okay, like this will work. Yeah, it'll work, but do exactly that. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. But then you figure out some people want to be told why, not just told to, but like why? Why do we do it that way? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's who they are. And some people, I can forget because I used to say to myself, like, one day I was watching her in the office and I'm like, I'm going to go back and read Lord of the Flies. And like, because you got all these people, you got like, did you read that book in school? Or you're too, geez, y'all just young. Read it. It's a good book. You'll like it. It's short, but it's really good about human relationships. It's really interesting. These guys get stranded on this island. They're young kids. But it's like, you start figuring out who everybody is and what role they play. And are they helping the culture? Could they hurt the culture? Who's pulling for the team? Who's pulling against the team? And then trying to watch all that and balance it. But it's really, really cool to watch because, yes, you have to deal with everybody differently. Yes, you have to see yourself in that way. And it's also, by the way, it's okay to be frustrated. The first time I went to sell a company or I talked about it, dude, this private equity company just fucking gutted me. I was in my 20s. I didn't even know what day it was, dude. And the guy just sat me down and was like, what's this? What's that? Give me an ROI in this. What are your KPI here? What's your here? Give me your P&Ls. And then when I handed it to him, he's like, you had an accountant do these. And I was like, yeah, man. And he's like, there's nobody this bad. I was like, fuck. He's like, it's impossible. Like, I don't think you do anything wrong legally. These are terrible. Like, and you're not making the money. Like, where do you think this money, what would we buy this for? And I was thinking to myself, well, bro, you can just say no. Like, why do you? And it's funny, like, you always got to remember, don't burn bridges, right? Well, 8 years later, I'm doing a transaction, and who's one of the guys on the board? This guy. And he said, you remember meeting me? I said, yes, sir, I do. Now at that time, he was in his 60s. I was, 29, 30, 31. And I said, thank you for that day. He said, what do you mean? I said, thank you for that. And of course, the guys are there, and he's telling them, and I was like, oh no, he eviscerated my business plan, my business in general, and I was really frustrated with him. He's funny too. He goes, I said, I was thinking, he goes, I'm glad you didn't hit me. I said, I would never hit you as a business meeting. I respect you. I said, but it really made me take a look at my business. And I realized I didn't know what I thought I knew. I wasn't seeking the right counsel from the right people, and I wasn't going to be successful. But a lot of times we're so worried about, because of your times you're going to say something to somebody, you're concerned how they're going to take it, right? Is that fair enough?
100%.
But if your motivation's right, it doesn't mean it's always going to be working. But I think what you have to be saying in leadership all the time when you're trying to pick money on the sales side, pick money on the recruiting side is, do they know why I'm doing it? So a lot of times you should ask people, hey, bro, do you know why I'm doing this? No, I really don't know why you're doing it. Got it. Well, here's why. Because if these things happen, here's what's going to happen to us. When you look at what do your mom and dad do for work? if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, my dad has been in construction his whole life, and my mom works for American Airlines.
So is $350 a lot of money, family-wise, for the Scalise family?
Yes, very much.
Like, big number.
Yeah.
It's not like you got uncles making $10 million a year, mom making, like, you have hardworking, awesome parents, awesome people in your family. But that's a big number. Is it kind of surreal? Like, when you look at the amount of money that comes in, you look at the money in your bank account, you look at how much you pay in taxes. Is it kind of surreal?
It's very surreal, especially kind of like having a perspective, because you could always be like, oh, like, you know, I'm not where I want to be yet, blah, blah, blah. And it's true. You always want to set new goals, but it's also very cool when you get to take a step back and look how far you've come and just be grateful for it as well. That's something I've been trying to work on too, because it's very easy to just be next level. But, you know, a bad day gets a lot less bad when you realize where you've come from and how far.
Talk to everybody about paying taxes.
Yeah, so that was
Because when
something-
you're at the valet, they take the money out.
Yeah.
Okay, but talk to everybody about your experience as a young man paying taxes as a business owner.
It was tough, especially going into the first accountant and me trying to explain what I kind of do. And, you know, he was an older guy. He's been like in his 70s, and he just didn't understand it. He's like, oh, well, maybe we should do this. And you have employees. I'm like, no, everyone 1099. And he just didn't even understand the structure.
Yeah.
So that was something I realized, like, okay, this is not going to be as easy as I thought. But I wanted it to be done right. So I went through all my stuff, which is the first time I've ever had stuff to even go through. You know, I had to pay more than I made at the valet. So it's like, it is a very surreal experience. But
And how important it is to be aware of it, because people get caught, meaning January comes, their accountant's like, you owe 80 grand. And they're like, 80? You're like, yeah, 80. You owe 80 grand. And they're like, I don't have 80 grand. It's like, well, where's your money? But then again, you realize people don't know. They just don't know.
Yeah.
How about you? Taxes, I'm assuming you had an idea, but did you realize, like, damn, I'm going to pay a lot to the government?
I feel like I definitely did something wrong. I tried to do it all myself, watch some videos, TurboTax, but I don't know. I think I did an all right job. I don't know. It was tough.
Yeah, but it's just the concept of paying the money. Just the
Yeah.
concept of, like, because for me, it was the first time that I was given the money and the government didn't take it. And then I have the money all year, and then it's like, oh, how much? And I remember I paid once a year for a while. And then I'm like, dude, I got to go to quarterly. And then we launched company, like, first I've been through it enough. I'm like, I'm paying weekly. Like, I'm just like, take this much out every week, because you're gambling and you're like, dude, I owe how much? Remember one year I was like, man, how do I owe, like, I've already paid enough. How do I owe $1 million still? And I've already paid them all this money throughout the year. And I just got my mindset. I was like, you know what? If I make $1, the government's gets 50 cents. That was just kind of how my deal was. Like, I'm like, if I make $1, like net $1, they're getting 50 cents. Like this, I'm just gonna, if I roll with that, life is really good. So if I have this much in my account, I pay taxes. I really only have this much in my account. Do you talk to people about, what is one of the things that you make sure you advise people about this industry? Like, what is something that is concerning for you that you make sure you make everybody aware of?
I think a lot of people, based off what's going on, they come in for quick money. But this is something I feel like it's very long term. Like, it's not something that happens overnight. You're not going to sell a few policies and kind of run away. Like, this is a long term plan. And you got to set yourself up for that, just the way the business is kind of modeled. You know, does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And I think, how about you, Dom? What is something where you're like, man, you guys have to be aware of this in the business?
I think reinvesting back into yourself. It's very easy to make that first, couple thousand, be like, wow, that's more than I've ever made. I'm going to go buy this. I've been waiting to buy that. But that doesn't work, because then you just find yourself back in the mud, back in the same position you were before the sales. So just reinvesting into yourself, understanding the scalability of it if you are moving forwards, not just staying stagnant.
It's hard to get people to do that, though, to put the money back in. Because it's like, I made my money. It's my money. It's like, I know, I hear you, bro. I'm just trying to help you build a company. But it's really, a lot of it, too, it's not what we were taught. Like, nobody taught me to reinvest in the business. Nobody taught me about being 1099. Nobody taught me about being financially free. Nobody taught me about leadership. I was just like, go get a good job. Go to college, job. Go to college, go to a good job. I mean, and somehow we thought, I know I did, that I'm going to get out of college. I'm going to get myself, a job making a couple $100,000 a year. I got my degree. Like, I'm going to kick ass. This is going to be awesome. I got my job at the state. I was making 60, 70 grand a year, which back then was a lot of money. And overtime made 100 grand a year. I thought it was on top of the world, until you have kids and you're like, dude, I'm having a hard time paying my bills. Like, legit hard time paying my bills. How about you, AJ? I always like to ask this question to everybody that I work with because I'm always trying to learn too. So I had a group in the other day, and I'm gonna tell you both what made me the most frustrated about y'all. It's a good game to play. I had a guy the other day. I'm like, what made you most frustrated about me? He was like, oh damn. What was the time you were most frustrated with me?
To be honest with you, I don't know if there was a time I was really frustrated because I knew it was like results oriented. You're very efficient in everything you do. You're very intentional. So there must be a reason you're doing this. So I kind of step back and try to understand.
Got it. That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what I always told him why I was always on him, because you can see it. Like, he's thinking. So I'm like, dude, keep up. Like, you already are watching. Like, just there's a few more moves you got to make. Like, you got to get there. And I think for me, it was watching you guys and seeing how talented you are as people and seeing other people have a result better than yours. When I thought from a talent standpoint, these guys are more talented. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, they're more talented. They're super great guys. They're smart. I felt like they're taking themselves for granted. Like, they're in this office. They have an opportunity. And you don't have to know. You just know. You don't know people watching movies at lunch. You just know that they're watching movies at lunch. You just know they're not. I wanted it so bad. Like, I couldn't wait for the office to open. Like, I couldn't. I was just like, I wanted it so bad that those nights at 11 p.m. when Mike Sizer's like, when people start like, I'm like, dude, you can go if you want. Like, I get it. It's late. And he's like, yeah, dude, I'll see you in the morning, man. I'm just like, do you need anything else? I was always his thing. Do we need to do anything else? And I'm like, there's plenty to do, dude. We just launched a company. But, like, I'm not going to tell you to stay. You go home, dude. I'm not mad at you. I'm really appreciative of how hard you're working. But for me, it's watching people when they have it. And now I think y'all are seizing it. I think you're seizing the opportunity you have. Actually, I know you're seizing it. So, because you watch the growth of the people that are there. And I think as you continue to watch that, whoever helps the most people wins. That's all it is, dude. It's really when you take it, I can take this white piece of paper, I can go on a whiteboard, I can draw the people out. Whoever helps the most people wins. Why does FL have such a ridiculous volume? Or why do we do so much production? We focus on helping a lot of people, helping them grow as people. Because some guy wants to say something and act like he's going to big boy you. Dude, it's really not that big a deal, honestly, unless I really, 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 really want to see you win. And I don't want anybody to mess with you either. Like, that sends me over the edge. And I think that for me, as y'all are starting rolling, like when you look at your volume, what is your team doing volume a month?
360.
360?
Yeah.
Okay, so $360,000 a month. So, I mean, you're at, if you're 300, you're 3.6. No, 720, you're 4 and change. Like, that's a lot of volume in a year. What is your goal in 2026?
By the end, I want to get $1 million a month.
Okay, so you want to double that.
Yeah.
Okay, more than double that. How about you? What's your goal, AJ?
I want to do about $6 million on the year.
Okay.
So by the end of this year. Hopefully by the end of next year, maybe double that. Yeah.
Do you like the competition part?
I do.
Leaderboards and
not necessarily the leaderboards, but just
like?
Competition in general, yeah.
Okay.
It's like sports.
Okay. What part do you like most about business that you would equate to sports? Like, is it sales? Is it which part is
The fact
recruiting?
that it's always on me. So nothing really else matters except what I'm doing, my activity. I feel like that's the best part, That's what sports is. Same thing.
How about you, bro?
With sports, you're saying?
The competition. Do you like the competition?
I love it. I think as long as it's in a healthy way,
Okay.
right? So
Explain
it's never
that.
like, I never look at like, AJ is a big part of my business, and you always want a healthy business, but if he's becomes majority, I'm like, damn, I got to do more.
Correct.
Not like I want him to do worse, that makes no sense. So it's like the healthy part of the competition of like, man, I got to step it up. Like, I got to get out there. He's doing all this. Like, man, I got to do more.
Yeah.
That's
what's funny about business. Like, you're never afraid of a growing business in your business, or you're never afraid of a growing leg, they would say in insurance. And first of all, that's a great problem to have because you want to motivate yourself. Second of all, the foundation of that. So now you have this foundation on your business. I was consulting a guy one day. He's run this huge landscaping company. This is years ago. And we get done, and I was like, you know what your problem is, right? He's like, well, I have a lot of problems. I'm not making money. I'm like, I know. You employ 75 people. Like, y'all do quite a bit of, you bill, but you don't make no money. And I'm like, dude, why can't we go to like somebody big? McDonald's, Burger King, Sheridan. Like, you have all the equipment and all the people, and you can handle all of it. And the guy looked at me and he said, yeah, but you know the price. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, what they want me to do the work for per hour. I said, hey, bro, I don't know if you've noticed, but you're driving all over God's creation to get to all these different places. Sometimes they don't even pay you. And then you get here and this one needs fill and you didn't realize. Then you need more topsoil over here. There's all kinds of crap that happens. McDonald's and Burger King, all them, those are just cookie cutter buildings, bro. Looks like there's some mulch. I'm not even a landscaper. Cut the brush, the trees. Well, you know, clean up the driveway. Like, dude, that's a blueprint. And you can go from, he's like, well, what'd you do? I said, find out when their contracts are, see when they're up for a bid. And why don't you just bid them out and see if you can get a bunch of those? Because that's, if 90% of your business is them, so what? You can always go get more business, but wouldn't you want to start there and then you could expand? And if you wanted this homeowner thing, you need to charge them more. You're not making any money. So the irony is you say you're making more because you're charging more, but it's costing you more. Like, give me as many McDonald's and Burger Kings in my business as I can get. Boom, you got McDonald's. Go get Burger King. You're going to keep finding people, and they're handling themselves. So now you got an entity that handles itself, but it's self-image, and people get insecure and attention. The last thing I'll say is you got to want the result, your growth, whatever those things are. But the minute it's only about the attention, you can never feed that. That's a bottomless pit. Like, I want you to win really effing bad, but I don't want the attention for it. I just want you to win really bad. I want you to win really bad. I want, if there's a problem, for you to call me so I can help you solve it. I sure as hell would love it if somebody was talking shit and bothering you, call me, because I like that part. That's fun for me. Like, but I just want to see y'all win. And if you can do that, and every time the light that's shined on you just shine on somebody else, you should be proud of yourselves, man. You're building. I mean, if you look at, I never made that kind of money at y'all's age, ever, which is amazing. And now you think about what you can do over the next 10 years and what you can do with your money. You're not even there yet. That's a conversation for a different day. Like, what can you do with the money when you start making that kind of money? And what kind of return on your money you can get with very minimal risk, and some of the things that you can do after that. So, but I appreciate you both getting on Pick Money. You guys are great. I'm excited to have you. I appreciate you. Dom,
thank you very much.
You got it. AJ, thank you, buddy.
Sean. Thank you.
Guys, thanks for jumping on. Hey, if people out there want to work in life insurance, they want to work, they're in a sales position, they're door to door, and you want them to come work with you, you have leads, how do they find you, Dom?
They could just text me. I'll give out my numbers, 315-657-2606.
How about you, AJ? How do they find you?
We'll weed out the tire kickers. My name is AJ Standish. Go find me.
We know the tire kickers, and I like that. That was good. Guys, I appreciate both of you. Thank you for like, subscribe, share. Get this to somebody. If you know somebody in their 20s who legitimately wants to make a couple $100,000 a year, or whatever age for that matter, they're in a valet, they're working, they're in college, they just graduated a part-time job. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're on your third job and you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s. The opportunity does not discriminate. These guys will help you, and they're having a real result. So we'll talk to you all soon.